not a whole lot to say about it, other than just how did it feel to be out there? I mean, you took the first reps for what it's worth.
Yeah.
How different does it feel for you knowing that, hey, this is it, starting?
Yeah, I think it was a really good first day. Obviously, getting back out there, just running some of our base stuff. But it was good. I feel like the group of guys we got this year, I like them a lot. And I think we came together a lot during the off season, which is good. So, solid first day, step in the right direction for sure.
Coach Day said the first thing he wanted to see from both you guys was leadership.
Yeah.
How, in some ways you either are or you aren't, or you have to force it. I mean, I think both you guys are.
Yeah.
How conscious are you of, okay, I need to display it, I have to be the guy?
Yeah. I think, honestly, it was more so a natural transition. When CJ's here, you don't want to step on his toes or anything like that, because he was obviously the clear, defined leader of the team. He was the voice of the team. But now that he's gone, I think naturally opportunities to step up and lead and speak, things like that came. So it was good. It's definitely something I was trying to be a little conscious of early on in the winter, and then over time just became like second nature.
Just to lay a foundation here, could you give us like a 20 or 30 second breakdown of how you would describe yourself as a quarterback for someone who knows nothing about you?
Yeah, I would just say a playmaker. Whatever the team needs me to do to win, that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, I think that the film will speak for itself, but at the end of the day, just a competitor.
What did you learn from CJ?
I learned a lot from CJ, on and off the field, physical, mental, everything. And it was interesting, being able to spend my first 2 years with him, and he was great about it, open about everything. If I had a question, there was never any hesitation to ask him. And he was always completely honest with me and gave me lots of good advice. So that's something I'm extremely thankful for.
How are you different from, you've been through a quarterback battle before with your freshman. How is this one maybe different? How are you approaching this one?
Yeah. I think now when I came in, the first one, you have no experience. You don't have any practices under your belt. You don't have a season under your belt. Now going to year 3, which is crazy to think about. You have a lot more experience, a lot more reps, whether that's in practice or the game, and you kind of understand what the coaches are looking for. So I think just that experience speaks volumes, I think, in terms of looking back on where I am now and where I was when I first got here.
What are you taking from that? I know it's not a lot of passes, but what are you taking from that experience and connection?
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of things, whether it's, leading the team, whether it's, how to manage the game, how to prepare for a game, just things like that. And then I think as well just how to prepare for a practice. Obviously it's not going to be the same type of preparation for a game. But, there's definitely some preparation that goes into practice, which, when you first get here, you show up to high school practice and, you don't really think too much about it. You might not even watch film on it. But now going back, watching the film and refining, so just all things like that.
Can you take us through again?
Give you some advice. What's one thing that he specifically said to you that you will find helpful?
There's a ton. I would say when it comes to just reads, he saw the field really well, and so when it came to different plays and stuff like that that we have in, I think he did a great job of let me know what he was looking at pre-snap, and then at the snap of the ball, if the defender does this and I'm looking here, but if he goes there I'm looking here, just things like that. And literally in every single play in the playbook, I think he's given me some knowledge about that, so it's good.
How can you take us through how you feel in the pocket, making reads, doing that kind of thing, and then how you feel out of the pocket, off platform when the play breaks down?
Yeah, I feel great in the pocket. This offseason, I've really been trying to study some guys like Burrow, Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and watching them. You turn on their tape. One thing about them in the pocket, they're always on balance no matter, what's going around them. If they make a quick, sudden movement, they're getting right back on platform. So those things were really good to study and then come out and get some reps in, just working out and stuff like that. And then in terms of getting outside the pocket, I think that's something I've always been pretty comfortable with, and something obviously I work at a lot. So I think, just the two of them, and obviously getting the feel of, when are you able to make a move in the pocket, or when do you have to escape in the pocket. I think that's always, something the more reps that, you get better at.
I guess, what do you think you do best? You want to maybe run a little bit more, use his legs a little bit more. I wonder if that may be something that you might take to heart as you're
Yeah. I think, watching the film, you go back, and I think the Georgia game is a great example of when, like I was just talking about, when do you have room to, make a move in the pocket and step up and throw, or when do you have to get out and make a play. And I think that was a clinic tape from CJ. So that's something that I've been studying. I think I've watched that game probably 5 to 10 times, something like that, just because there's so many good plays in that game. But yeah, I think definitely when it's there, take it. But then at the same time, with the weapons that we have, wanting to keep my eyes up and get the ball to our playmakers.
Do you ever have to remind yourself that as fun as it is to be out of structure and making the crazy off-platform throws, it's way more important to be sound in structure and need to be really good at that in order to be able to get to the off-structure thing?
Yeah, I think the off-structure throws are fun to watch, and you see them all over social media when guys make them, but in order to do that, I think you have to be extremely focused on making the routine throws and having your feet set and being good fundamentally, and then once you have that down, you can build on it to get to those crazy throws.
What do you think you do best? What's the one thing when Coach Tay says, give me what you want to do? What is that?
I don't know if I could put a finger on it, to be honest. I think just being a competitor, I think, is extremely important. And I think, you look at last year, we played some teams that gave us different looks, which require you to run different things. And then, you're going to have a game like Northwestern where you can't really throw the ball that much. And, you have to compete in other ways, whether it's running the ball like CJ did last year. So I don't know if I could really put a finger on it, but I would just say just competing would be the biggest thing.
Because Ohio State fans have seen you in very limited, actually, the Akron game, and then in games last year where you didn't really, they didn't let you turn you loose, put it mildly.
Yeah.
For Ohio State fans, say, okay, what's this guy like? What's he do? What's he comfortable doing? What would you say to that?
I guess time will tell, to be honest. I could sit up here and say, what I want to do and what I want to accomplish, but at the end of the day, I think the film will speak for itself when that time comes.
Kyle, I don't mean to belabor the point, but how would you evaluate that part of the mobility part of your game? How comfortable are you with it? How good do you think you can handle that if you have to?
Yeah, I think once I got to college, I think you realize that, in order to play at this level, you have to be a good athlete. And so that's one of the things with Coach Mick and his staff I've been focusing on, just speed and agility. And it's not necessarily, how fast is your 40 time. I think a lot of it is, how quickly can you, take a hard reset and get back on platform, or can you evade the rush and get outside the pocket and extend the play. So just working in ways like that, I think, have been a pivotal point of my training, and I think Coach Mick and his staff have done a great job of that.
I know that you don't pay any attention to this, but outside, it's like the perception is Devin can do all those things, and then you are the pocket passer. If you've paid any attention to that, does that annoy you? Do you think that you don't get enough credit for what you could do athletically?
No, it is what it is. I think you saw it with CJ. They'll say anything, and I think CJ did a good job of just letting it roll off his back. So if that's one thing I'll take from CJ, just they can say whatever. It is what it is.
That is the game, and you said you've watched that game multiple times at this point, and it felt like that aspect, the off-platform stuff, the run element was maybe more emphasized in that game than any other game CJ played here.
Yeah.
Has that become a more emphasized in the room just because of how that game played out, or is that game why you felt like that needed to be a bigger part of what you're doing?
I think going into that game, we knew that that's what type of game it was going to be. They had a great D-line. So when the pocket was clean, great, just do what we do. But, I think there were multiple plays where, things weren't perfect, and he scrambled out and made, I think he had 2 touchdowns on the run, if I'm not mistaken, and then had a few big runs. So I think it really is the flow of the game. But going into that week, I think we had a pretty good idea that he was going to have to do some stuff like that, which he did, obviously. But I think, like you said, that I don't know if we would say it's a point of emphasis now, but definitely something after watching that game, like that's what it's going to take to beat those type of teams.
A big part of being quarterback here is not just what you do on the field; it's handling all the circus around it. How well do you think you deal with that part of it? The criticism that'll be justified, the criticism that won't be justified, just being in that fishbowl?
Yeah, I think it comes with the territory. You know, anytime you play at a big school like this, I think that's one of the biggest blessings and, you know, a curse at the same time. And, you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, you know, you have a great game, the media's going to say great things about you. You have a bad game, you know, they're going to say that, you know, you're not with the answer or whatever it is. So I think, you know, you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. I mean, obviously it's hard to avoid if you go on social media, so I just try to stay off of it a little bit. And I think, you know, you just have to, at the end of the day, remind yourself, like, you know, don't get too high, don't get too low, just stay steady in the boat.
Kyle, two of the three starting receivers from last year, presumably going to start again this year, are out for the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're trying to prove that you're the best quarterback on the roster, but I mean, in a way, the starting wide receivers aren't the guys that you're throwing to right now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of compartmentalize that in your brain?
Yeah, I think for me, you know, we're really deep at receiver. I think that's one of the deepest positions we have on this team, and I think the young guys are stepping up quite nicely, which is good, honestly. I mean, we know what Mech and Julian can both bring to the table. But I think it gives other guys a chance to step up and make some plays, and already on the first day they've shown that they can. But, you know, I've been throwing with, you know, all the guys all off season, so I think, you know, we really haven't missed a beat. And the first day, it was really good. They went out and made some good plays.
Kyle, how much have you dreamt about teaming up with Marvin again now in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny when we first started playing with each other, my sophomore year of high school. I mean, it's something that we always talked about. And, you know, obviously it's crazy the way everything worked itself out, us both being here. And, you know, I'm definitely excited to be able to play with him. I mean, I get a lot of reps with him last year just because he was going with the ones with CJ. But, you know, the chemistry is definitely still there. You know, I throw with him a bunch. It's my best friend. It's funny, I tell him if I was athletic enough to play DB, I'd be able to lock him down because I know all of his moves, which he laughs at. But, no, it's good. I mean, it's always fun to play with a guy like that, his caliber, and as well as, you know, your best friend. So
what's changed about his game just in the last couple of years that you've noticed now throwing to him regularly again?
Yeah, it's funny looking back. I remember we watched, I think it was his sophomore year high school tape, and you know, he was obviously a great receiver then, but just got bigger, stronger, faster, quicker. I think his football IQ is at the next level now, and it's funny, like talking to him, I think he sees the field like a quarterback, which is something that, you know, not a lot of guys that I've played with have had. Mm-hmm. And, you know, after a play, go back and talking to him. I mean, he knows what I'm seeing, and I think that helps with him getting open. And I think that has really allowed him to take his game to the next level. And then obviously on top of his work ethic.
How cool is to have a guy with that kind of catch radius, though? I mean, you know, the way.
Yeah, I mean, if
it's not just him. It's like.
Yeah, you just put it in his area code and he's going to go get it. But I mean, that's something that he's been doing since high school. Yeah. So I think everybody else is surprised but me.
You have a start and a win under your belt, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of leg up does that give you, do you think, just realistically in this race?
Yeah. I've talked about it before, but I think just getting a start, it's obviously a lot different than practice. I mean, you can prepare for the looks you think you're going to get based on film. You can prepare for, you know, different defenses, but at the end of the day, you know, when the ball's put down, you know, and you're in there, it's, you know, you're going to have to deal with some stuff on the fly. So just getting that experience was good. You know, making some good plays, making some bad plays, and learning from it, I think, really helped me, especially at that point, so early in my career. I think, you know, it's very important experience to get.
Tom, how much two more questions. When you deal with a QB competition, you guys are obviously great friends, but you're going for one job. How is that mentally? How do you guys interact off the field with the competition?
No, I mean, me and Devin are really close. We're really close, and I think, you know, we both know what it is. But I think that's the beauty of it. I think, you know, all off season we've been pushing each other, which is good. I mean, he's definitely gotten me better, and I've definitely gotten him better. So I think it's a very beneficial relationship on both sides. And obviously, you know, we both know what we're going for, but at the end of the day, it's just a really good competition, you know, and I think it's bringing the best out of me and the best out of him as well.
How much competition happens outside of practice? I mean, do you feel like this is almost a 24/7 thing? Maybe not while you're sleeping, but beyond practice, when you're in the weight room, when you're just hanging out with guys, do you feel like that's still being evaluated?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think of it like that. You know, I think, you know, if we're in the weight room. We're out here, we're going to be competing with each other. We're competing with each other last year, even though there wasn't a job on the line. I mean, that's just always how it's going to be, especially at a place like this where it's highly competitive in every area. But like I said, I think, we're definitely bringing the best out of each other, which is good. And that's what you want at the end of the day. I mean, you don't want to be handed anything. You want to have to be able to work for it. And I think, we both understand that. And I think, it's honestly brought us closer.
All right, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, the reason behind it was Sammy Baugh. I mean, he was the first quarterback inducted in the Hall of Fame. I mean, in 1963 with the Washington football team, so he's a legend. That's the original quarterback number in my opinion. So I want to wear out the original quarterback number.
But why are you so infatuated with Sammy Baugh? Besides that, I mean, who brought that to your attention?
I mean, it just kind of came through my family. My dad had always talked about it, and so I put it on when I was 7 years old and hadn't ever taken off until high school.
So you plan to continue wearing cardi today in the fall?
Yes, sir.
Devin, was it my imagination, or did you have get more ball speed coming out of your hand this spring than a year ago? Did I make that up? It just seems like you're throwing it more velocity.
A little more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I changed a few things mechanically this offseason with Coach Day and Coach Fitch and Coach Dennis. Changed a couple things with my feet, getting the ball up, having a quicker release. And so I think those things have really helped me to be able to even add to my arm strength.
Do you feel like it's different, or am I projecting that for you?
No, I mean, a couple people have said it. It's hard for me to tell sometimes. I'm more focused on the play, not really thinking about how hard I threw it or anything, but I can see that.
We get to see 30 minutes, so it's ultimate small sample size.
Right.
There was one throw early on that looked like you may have missed it. You were upset with yourself. Mm-hmm. Is that just you want every single rep out here to be perfect?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, everything's not going to be perfect at the end of the day, but me and Kyle are competing. And, so you want every rep to matter. So every rep you want it to be the best rep, and that's why I just kind of got on myself a little bit. But it's just one rep. It was one throw. It wasn't like it was live or anything, so it really didn't matter at the end of the day.
Right.
How do you feel like you and Kyle are pushing each other?
It's good. I mean, I think me and Kyle are two of the best quarterbacks in the country. So I feel like when I'm at my best is when I'm at the best competition in the country. So going against Kyle every day really boosts my confidence and boosts my drive to try to get better every day. And I feel like I'm doing the same for him.
Have you said to yourself, this is what it's going to take to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State this year? I mean, what encapsulate that for us?
Yeah, I mean, this is the best job in college football. Being the quarterback at Ohio State, there's really nothing better. This is the top job. I mean, you're the head of college football if you're the quarterback at Ohio State, so you really have to lock in. And my mindset is I want to do everything possible to take this over.
Yeah, and what does that mean? I mean, you got to be perfect. I mean, obviously you can't be perfect. But I mean,
right.
What are you telling yourself you have to show every day, I guess?
I think the team just has to believe in you. They got to feel your energy every day. They got to feel how you're playing. Obviously, you got to be moving the ball. And I think the biggest thing is being a leader and being able to get guys going. And when guys are down, you got to bring them back up. And I think the team will surround whoever has the most energy and whoever is the biggest leader.
Is there an element of this competition then that extends beyond the 2.5 hours you guys are practicing today? Is it how you guys are handling yourselves all day, all night with these guys?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, in the workouts and stuff, you're trying to drive guys, but it's never like we're stepping on each other's toes or anything. We both want the best for each other. We want to get each other better. At the end of the day, we're trying to help this team. But every guy's going to do whatever they think is necessary to win this job.
I guess do you feel like you're sort of evaluated on a 24-hour basis as to
I mean for sure. I think we're definitely evaluated on everything you do. Whether we're doing film by ourselves or out here and they see us on the field or something by ourselves doing extra work. But I mean, we've been doing that since the last game against Georgia. We've been doing a ton of work together. Me and Kyle have been throwing it with each other. It's not like we're trying to separate each other and try to be apart from each other. No, we're teammates. We're trying to get each other better.
Obviously, Kyle has that extra year of experience. He's played in games. You haven't thrown a pass in a game. How do you kind of make up for that lack of experience?
I mean, I'm fortunate enough to get a lot of reps in practice, and I think our practices, we try to make them harder than games, so just got to keep repping in practice.
Is it inspiring to see what CJ was able to do as a second-year quarterback, what Justin was able to do as a second-year quarterback?
For sure, yeah. I mean, we go back and watch even Braxton and JT and Dwayne, all these guys. We watch back to everybody. Even when they were throwing before and when they're doing drills, all the same drills as us. You look back and you're like, all these guys are the same as us. They're in the same position as us. It didn't matter where they were on the depth chart. We were the best quarterback room in the country, and everybody can play.
With everything being evaluated, how difficult is it for you to be yourself versus what you think the coaches want to see from you?
I think I can't be thinking about what the coaches want to see from me. I think being myself is what's going to get me to the next level and being able to push this team. I feel like that's when I'm at my best, is when I'm myself and not worried about, I made a mistake here and there. No, I just got to keep playing and keep being myself.
Devin, how valuable was that time when CJ went to New York during the Peach Bowl prep and
It's really just you and Kyle really starting that competition.
It was huge. I mean, got a lot of reps with the ones that first few days. I think it was 3 or 4 practices that CJ wasn't there, and it was good. You know, it's just me and Kyle getting a ton of reps and being able to vocalize myself as a leader. Even as a young guys were kind of coming around me, and it was good to be able to voice myself.
Devin, could you, I apologize if this duplicates something, could you just maybe give like a 20 or second breakdown of who you think you are as a quarterback for someone who knows nothing about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm an athletic quarterback. Obviously, I'm not the greatest athlete. I'm not no Justin Fields, but I think I'm an in-between a Justin Fields and a CJ Stroud in terms of my play. I feel like I can extend plays with my feet, make guys miss, but also I have the arm strength to make pretty much every throw on the field, and I believe that with my whole heart. There's not a throw on the field that I cannot make.
And right now, how would you describe how you feel in the pocket, making reads, taking what's there, and then how you feel out of the pocket when maybe something breaks down and you've got to make a play?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of something we talk with the coaches too, like getting out of the pocket early on. Like last year, I was just kind of so wiry and so juiced up. I was getting out of space and just trying to get something quick, where now having a year of experience and being able to work against the one defense, and the speed of the game is slowing a lot down. You know, my knowledge for the offense is slowed down. My knowledge of the defense is slowed down. So being able to see things and make quick decisions, but also knowing what's really going on has really helped.
When you talk about your ability to extend play, did you grow up watching quarterbacks who did that and try to emulate that? When did you kind of learn that it could be something that could be a part of your game?
Yeah, I mean, I think my earliest memory is watching Tate Martell in high school.
Whoa, that's a magic name here.
yeah, obviously, no. But no, him at Bishop Gorman, I think I just like idolized him. I used to go to his camps when he was at Bishop Gorman just because of the way he played in high school, and I think that's kind of where it started. But even in my early years of high school, I wasn't ever scrambling around or anything like that. It really took off when I moved to Utah, and I was in a more running offense, and I was able to use my legs a lot more. I kind of came to me. I really hadn't done that before.
Why do you think it didn't work for Tate here? Why didn't it work out for Tate Martell at Ohio State?
I have no idea. I was not here. I could not tell you.
But were you following that when he was here?
Not as much, no.
It was like a big thing when he was here, man.
I bet.
When you were at Utah, did your coaches like emphasize like this could be something you could do? Like how did they coach that in your game?
No, I think it just kind of came about. We had a quarterback runs in the offense, and I didn't have that in Arizona. We were all like under center and pro style stuff with Coach Jermaine. So when I got to Coach Care in Utah, it was more spread offense. You know, a lot of throws. Really, we didn't hand the ball off that much. But when I had runs, it was good for me just to be able to find my athleticism and be able to make guys miss. But even since we were all like spread offense, I was able to, when guys weren't there, I was even able to make plays, and I think it just added on as the year went on.
Brian says the biggest thing he's looking for is leadership. How do you balance that without having played a game, significant minutes in a game, and find your voice and get the guys to trust you before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, it started in winter workouts. I started being able to lead guys in these workouts, in Matt Dro's being able to voice and get guys going when things got hard. I think that started early on for me, and so I think guys kind of know I have a voice now, and then stepping into this role as a quarterback, potentially being a starting quarterback, guys are kind of surrounding me more, and as the play keeps going on, they just want to see who's going to play the best, and once they see who can play the best and who's got the most confidence, and they'll kind of surround that guy, and that guy can keep him going.
How does it work where maybe you guys are both...
How long did that take to happen, to gain that trust and to find your voice?
It took a long time, because obviously CJ was here, so being a guy behind CJ, it's like it's CJ's team. You're really not trying to push your boundaries or anything. But you were talking about when he was gone in New York, I was able to kind of step into that role and just start building, and it just kept on building throughout the winter.
How does it work where maybe both of you guys are trying to establish yourselves as leaders at the same time? I mean, competing, but trying to work together. What's that dynamic like?
I mean, we both know what the situation is. There's no hard feelings between us. We're both just. We've been very good about it. Like, we're not trying to separate each other from anything. We're like, if this guy's got it, he's got it. Go ahead, step in. Or like, even just getting extra work. Me and Kyle would just text each other like, hey, let's throw this day and let's get all the receivers together. We're not trying to like fight over receivers or anything like that. Fight over taking reps. Like, no, we just want each other to get better.
Devin, what has Tristan brought to you guys in the room?
Tristan's been great. I've known Tristan since I was a little kid. I used to go out to like the Steve Clarkson camps when he was out there, and when he was just about to go to Nebraska. So it's kind of funny. We trained with the same quarterback coach out in Arizona, Rudy Carpenter. So I've kind of had that relationship for a while. And he's an older guy. He's got a lot of game experience. He's done a lot of things in college. I mean, this will be his 7th year, I believe. He's 24 years old. He's been to 3 different schools now, so he is able to kind of verbalize things to me and give me a lot of different opinions on things and kind of mentor me. It's been really good.
Did you guys talk at all before he came here when he was deciding where to go?
Yeah. No, yeah. He kind of came to me, or the real reason he kind of came here was probably because of how I kind of talked to him and got the coaches involved with him, really.
Devin, is there a bigger physical adjustment between year 1 and 2, or a mental adjustment? And where do you think you are right now between last year and now?
Yeah, I think last year was the biggest thing was my physicality and getting size and speed. Now where I'm in like the 215 range, I got my size on me. I feel like I still have my speed. The biggest thing was mentally this offseason, really diving into the offense, diving into what defenses do. And I feel like now it's kind of becoming second nature, and so I can just come out and play.
What were you last year? Weight?
At the end of the season, I was like 208, 210 maybe. I think I got here at like 180, and then kind of throughout the season, I was still like in the 200 range and finished off at like 210.
Does 215 feel right to you? Do you want to get a little bigger? Or is that...
Yeah, I feel like I can definitely add some size in my legs. I feel like there's still room to go as long as it's the right weight and I'm not losing speed or anything.
How does that change you as a runner, maybe at all?
I think it just adds to it. I feel like this. Obviously, I need the size from when I'm running the ball. I'm not going to be getting banged up as much or taking as many injuries like that. If I'm bigger, I can take those hits.
Are quarterback competitions fun, stressful? Like what's it like to be in one?
I mean, all of the above. Obviously, it's going to be a little stressful because we're trying to win the starting job at Ohio State, so there's a little bit of stress with that. But at the same time, like, what should I stress about? I'm in a great situation. I'm at the best school in the country. I'm on the best team in the country. And the chance that I have to be able to become a starting quarterback at Ohio State, like, there's nothing more I can ask for. And I just want to keep going, keep playing, and just try to get myself better.
Do you view this spring as like, this is my opportunity?
Yeah.
And if I don't win, I've got to explore my options?
No, not at all. I'm a Buckeye through and through, and I just want to keep going. Obviously, I would like to win the starting job, and I just want to keep doing everything I can to do that.
Has Coach Day said anything about a pecking order entering spring, Devin, as far as quarterback? You guys are equal and see how it plays out?
Yeah, everything's equal. I mean, every rep has been split. Kyle takes the ones, then I'll take the ones. It's just back and forth. Everything's equal.
When you think about what the quarterback position at Ohio State has been lately, especially since Ryan Day got here, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, and CJ, to what you guys are doing now, how would you describe it? Like, what does quarterback play at Ohio State mean to you? What do you think it means to college football?
It's the best of the best. I mean, look how many first-round draft picks we've had at quarterback. Even guys that have left here that were third string. Joe Burrow, he was a third string here. He left and went on to be a national champion, Heisman winner, and almost won a Super Bowl. I mean, it's a first-round draft pick, and he was here for 3 years or whatever it was. But, I mean, this quarterback room is always going to be elite. We always have the best coaches. This is the cream of the crop. You don't want to be anywhere else if you're a quarterback.
How are you doing comfortability-wise, just like at Ohio State, as maybe just a student too?
I'm comfortable. Only got one in-person class. Got a little math class in person. Everything else is kind of online, so not on campus too much, but it'll probably get a little harder as the season goes on, staying on campus.
And any change from last year, just feeling like you fit here and belong?
Yeah, for sure. I felt like I fit in the first day I was here. Everybody's been so great to me. I mean, the players have been great to me, coaches, people. Like, there hasn't been any struggle at all with being here. I love it here.
We know it's a whole offense and it's an entire team, but specifically with the receiver group you guys have, and we know Julian and Becca are going through everything this spring. What does it do for you and Kyle, knowing that when you get to the fall, you're going to be throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka and Julian and this group of receivers?
I'd say it takes a huge load off of us. I mean, knowing that we have guys like that can make plays for us, even when something goes wrong, we can always trust those guys, and we have a lot of trust in our receivers. We know they're going to make plays for us, so it makes it a lot easier on us too.
Devin, what kind of growth have you seen from the 4 receivers in your class as they go into their second year?
Oh, I mean, there's been a ton of growth. I think Caleb got hurt today, Caleb Burton. But those 4 guys have grown tremendously. Their weight, their strength in the weight room, even their attitude. Some guys came in and were kind of just like, oh, I'll take it easy this year. Got all these guys in front of me. But, I've kind of been staying on those guys and no, you got to go now. We got to keep grinding, and if you're not going now, you're not going to be able to go when your time's up. So it's been a big curve for them, and they've been doing really good.
Do you think there's a sense of urgency kind of throughout your whole class of now that it's year 2, it's go time?
Oh yeah, for sure. And they feel everybody around them. They know they got great players in front of them, and they got great players behind them. So they got to keep pushing themselves every day to be the best.
One last question for Devin. If anybody has one.
This has been. When Justin Fields was here, this came up with Ryan a lot. Of Justin, I think, sometimes wants to hold the ball and make plays and doesn't want to give up on something. And Ryan would say, hey, if it's not there, just throw it away. Yeah. What's the balance in your mind for any quarterback between I want to try to keep this play alive as long as I can versus, hey, maybe it's not going to happen, chuck it out of bounds and let it fight another day?
I mean, it really just depends on the play. The biggest thing they've been coaching is just get through our reads. We've been really good about learning these plays and schematically knowing when to get backside or when to find our checkdowns and when to make something happen. And we're trying to just make every decision as quick as possible. So that's been the biggest emphasis, is just get the ball out. If not, throw it away, get down, make the play happen. So they've just been hammering us with that.
Okay, cool. What's it been like so far, just being at Ohio State?
It's been great so far. I really love my experience so far with all the players, and I think they got a great group of guys in the locker room and great coaches that push you and make you work hard and make you better each day. And I think that they do a lot of things really well here, and I think that shows.
Devin said he's known you for a long time.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, I mean, I love Devin. We actually, I think I was like a counselor at one of the camps when he was maybe in like middle school or something like that. So that's, I think, the first time I met him. And it's just amazing to see how much he's grown, obviously, since then. And now, being on the same team with him and watching him, play at an elite level is amazing.
What were the things he told you about Ohio State that made you want to come here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a place where competition is big, right? And you're competing with yourself every day to be the best version of yourself. This has some of the best coaches in the country, obviously. Like, they do a really good job here. Everything is challenging, and you have to strain to be the best version of yourself. And I was really interested in going somewhere where I was going to be challenged to improve, and I think that that's something that's offered here. So,
Ryan Day said that you want to be a coach. What is it about Ohio State that makes you think this can help set you up for a career in coaching?
Yeah, I think that obviously Coach Day, Coach Dennis, they're great coaches, and learning under them is obviously a great opportunity. This is an offense that is, always rated super highly in the country, and I think that's because of the things that they're able to do and the way that they teach. And being at a place like Ohio State is obviously a great thing to be under all the time, I guess.
What is special about this offense? What jumps out at it as you've maybe admired it from afar, Tristan?
Yeah, I think that obviously, like, the play calls are great, and the skill players are really, really good as well. But it seems like, to me, it always seemed like there was like a sense of urgency. When you watch it now being here, it's kind of confirmed like how detailed and detail-oriented the offense is, and how important it is, timing and all those things. Yeah. The little things add up, and you see it on Saturdays.
What do you see? I mean, you've talked about this before a little bit, but what do you see as your place in this quarterback room? Obviously, you aspire to be a coach, but you've started football games, Power 5 football games. You know what I mean? How do you see your place?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I see it is, personally, it's my responsibility to be the best version of myself every day and to help with whatever is needed of me. So whether that be, helping guys out, playing, whatever is, being asked of me, I need to do that to the best of my ability. And in order to do that, I have to be able to be the best version of myself every day and just improve every day. That's how I see it.
Yeah, but do you see yourself in the competition for the starting job, I guess is what I'm,
Yeah, like I said, that's never really been a thing that I focus on too much. Like, to me, I need to be the best version of myself, and if I'm able to do that, I think that I can, impress coaches and my teammates, and show that I could play at a high level. That's what's important to me, if that makes sense.
Devin was saying earlier that his relationship with you, that you guys kind of knew each other for a while, helped the coaches get involved with you. How did that happen exactly?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it all unfolded, I guess, but I just got a call, or I got hit up by Coach Dennis when I was in the portal, and we were talking about Devin and all those things, and being able to talk to Devin, somebody that I know pretty well, and hear a whole lot about Ohio State and what they're about here, I think helped me make a decision to come here. So,
did you always want to play a 7th year of college football? Was there a time where you're like, maybe I'll move on?
I think right when I was finishing up, I thought maybe that was maybe it, but I started to I kept throwing with my little brother who plays at Hawaii, and there's something in you that you're not ready to hang it up, and I felt like I wasn't ready, and so I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm really happy that I decided to throw my hat back in the ring and and get back involved with another team, because I think that there's a lot of great things going on here.
Tristan, can you put on your coaching hat for a second and evaluate what you've seen from, because you knew Devin before, what you've seen from Kyle McCord just a couple months here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're both very talented players. I think that they both have a good understanding of the offense, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, obviously they have physical talent, both of them, and they have a lot of things that they're really good at, and I think that it's going to be a great competition for sure.
Just one day in, how does a practice here at Ohio State compare to a practice at Oregon State?
I would say that things, obviously Oregon State's pro style huddle basically every play. So basically you're just running a lot more plays here in a 20-period practice. I think that's what stood out the most to me, which is good. Different system, different scheme, and there's a lot of things that Oregon State does, well, a lot of things that Ohio State does well. And that's why it's great. Not only being a player, but looking at it as a coach and saying, hey, there's, obviously Oregon State had a great year last year, 10-3, Ohio State 10-2, national championship semifinal. So 2 different systems, 2 different mindsets, operations, and they're both successful.
So be able to build your resume on learning from Jonathan Smith, the best offensive minds on that side of the country.
Right.
Come over here, learn from Ryan Day on this side of the country. How much do you think that helps you when you get to the coaching?
Yeah.
Business, you still want to play, but
yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, there's a dream of coaching.
Yeah.
Learning from Jonathan Smith and now Ryan Day.
Yeah, like you said, I think that I've been very fortunate to play under some really great coaches. Jonathan Smith at Oregon State's a fantastic coach. Ryan Day is obviously a really great coach, and they have different kind of philosophies in some ways, and in some ways they're pretty similar. And so being able to see behind the curtain and look at those things and say, okay, what do I like, what do I not, and then being able to go and articulate those things down the road when I'm up for coaching opportunities. But what I'm really blessed right now is that I have an opportunity to go and have another chance to play, and I'm super fired up about that.
How do you feel like the culture here compares to what it was at Oregon State?
It's interesting. I think that there's a lot of things that are very similar. Like if you took any guys from Oregon State and you planted them in this locker room, I think that they would get along really well, because they're similar character people. Like, I think that's what Coach Smith and Coach Day do a good job of, is finding guys that have good character and bringing them into the locker room. And I think that's really important for team chemistry. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that are very similar, and I think that there's a couple things that are a little different. So
what do you see that's different?
I would say that there's definitely a high sense of urgency at Ohio State, I think. Primarily, I think, because of the way that the offense is run. In other words, you're running more plays at Ohio State than you are at Oregon State. At Oregon State, you're huddling, you're checking plays at the line of scrimmage a lot. Run dominant, kind of offense, at least last year. And so, yeah, I feel like that's really what the difference is.
Is there a difference just in, the level of expectation of, now you're at a school that's competing for national championships every year?
Right, of course, there's that. And, Columbus is a bigger city and has a bigger following than Oregon State. But I think that what I've been able to do personally, in learning from Coach Smith and Coach Lindgren, that it didn't really matter what the circumstance was. They're all big games. Every day in practice is game day to you. And as far as I was always concerned, I'm competing for a national championship every day. So as hard as it is to say, or as easy as it is to say that there's big expectations here, because there are, obviously. This is Ohio State, and they have been competing for national championships for a long time, and Oregon State's trying to get into that kind of category. I want to hold myself to a high standard, and I've wanted to do that for my whole career, if that makes sense.
I mean, you've started games, you've played in rivalry games. What do you think you can bring to the room in that regard when the rest of the guys haven't played as much as you have?
Yeah, I think that what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to step back and look at the bigger picture and say, hey, these are the things that we need to do on a weekly basis to give ourselves the best chance to win, right? Routine, and having the discipline to go and watch film on this, and that, and just being able to be another voice in the room that's almost like a coach. And also, when you're coming off the field, it's good to, in my experience, it's good to have somebody to talk to that has played, right? My first start against Oregon in 2019, Jake Luton was there, he got hurt and I started that game. And having somebody that was experienced like Jake, who played a lot of football and is now in the NFL, being able to come off the field and talk to somebody who's played in those games and knows how it is to be out there under the lights and being the man in the arena, and how difficult some of those situations are. And I think that's what I bring to the room.
Tristan, how did the hamstring injury shape you as a person, player, and kind of change the way you look at your career?
Yeah, I think that injury in a lot of ways, it taught me how to persevere. Obviously a pretty catastrophic injury, and I probably could have decided to hang it up a couple times now, and I just keep on plugging, and I'm pretty proud of that personally. That it didn't change my approach. It didn't matter if I was injured or not. I was still going to do the same things for the quarterback room and serve my teammates in whatever way that I could. Being injured really the last kind of 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons, starting to feel better midway through last season. I was able to be named a captain for 3 years in a row, which I'm super proud of personally. And I think it goes to show you that, sometimes you get dealt a bad hand, and if you can make the most of it and do your duty and be reliable and dependable, great opportunities will come, because I really believe that if I didn't handle it the way that I did, I wouldn't be sitting here where I am right now.
Were you considering coaching before that injury, or was that kind of a point?
Yeah, I always so from my freshman year, I just loved being around the game. I loved learning about all the intricacies that were going on and helping guys and talking to players about what's going on, and it's something that just excites me, being able to talk ball and be around guys that just having a common goal and trying to work towards that goal. I think that there's nothing really like it in the world, and it's great.
And then how long did it take you to kind of get to the point where you don't think about that hamstring all the time?
Well, I think as soon as you like the adrenaline kicks in, you don't think about it. Like when I'm playing practice game, it didn't matter. Like you don't think about those things. You're just you're playing, and that's great.
All right, thank you, Tristan.
Yeah.